صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا وتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and purify the sanctity of this holy site with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the love of al-Baneen, the mother of Al-Abbas, a second salawat. A third salawat with your loudest of voices for the love of Aba Abdullah with your loudest of voices. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Alhamdulillah wa shukr. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for honoring us with another remarkable month within the Islamic calendar. There are many months within the Islamic calendar that are revered. Arguably every single month is revered. From Dhul Hijjah to Safar to Dhul Qa'dah and so on and so forth, Ramadan. But however, the month of Muharram is revered only for this one incident. Many months within the Islamic calendar are recognized and are elevated spiritually, prominently, due to several events. You look at Sha'ban, it contains the births of many of the Imams. You look at Ramadan, one may argue Ramadan is only popular because we fast. No, not necessarily. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The Holy Quran was revealed in that month. The month of Ramadan gets its glory as well from Laylatul Qadr, as well as the fasting element, as well as the martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam on that great night of power. However, the holy month of Muharram is arguably revered, recognized, elevated spiritually, and prominently due to the event that occurred in the 61st year after Hijrah, in the plains of Nainawa, in the afternoon of Ashura, when Aba Abdullah alayhi salam created the ultimate sacrifice and the ultimate revolution. Today, my dear respected brothers and sisters, as we begin this month, we have to come back and look at the foundation of our faith. That every single year we bring up the same stories, correct? And some may argue that every year we are familiar with what went on. As in for the last 1,400 years, look at the way some people like to talk. 1,400 years, it's always been the same incident. You commemorate the events, commotion, and let's say eulogies recited. People do pilgrimage to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. But the difference here is that within Ashura, within the event of Muharram, we learn new. Every single year, we learn something new. Every single year, there is always wisdom out there that we haven't grasped. I know a very famous scholar. He says, for the last 20 years, I have been reciting the maqtal of Imam al-Hussein, the actual revisiting the death and how the Imam was martyred, how he was slaughtered in all its detail. I recite it every single year for the last 20 years. What exactly went on that afternoon in Ashura up until the martyrdom of the Imam. Every single year I learn something new. You would think somebody for the last 20 years would be familiar with it, would have practically the maqtal memorized, the actual martyrdom. No, every single year I learn something new. With that being said, let's go back to the origins, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and let's see an element that perhaps we haven't looked upon as clear or haven't looked upon as much. When it comes to Islamic discussions within the month of Muharram, we generally focus a lot on personalities, which is very great. Personalities of the likes such as Abul Fadl al-Abbas. You may look at their history, their biographies, Muslim ibn Aqil. You could look at As-Sayyidah Zainab alayhum as-salam jami'an. However, it's very vital to not neglect Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Because these personalities within the holy month of Muharram are not exclusive just to the holy month of Muharram, including the Holy Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, of course, with his famous line, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn. The Husayn is from me and I am from Husayn. Now, when you come to analyze this phrase, it's very remarkable because Husaynun minni, Husayn is from me, I understood. But how are you from Husayn? At the end of the day, Husayn alayhi salam, Imam al-Husayn is the grandson of Rasulullah. Therefore, rationally, it made sense to me that Husayn is from Rasulullah. You can look at it, grandfather to grandson. Makes sense. But how are you, O Rasulullah, O Khatimun Nabiyyin, from Al-Imam al-Husayn? Because when you look at the events of Ashura and Imam al-Husayn, Rasulullah was born once more. Again, Rasulullah was revived. Because by the 61st year after Hijrah, everybody forgot Islam. Prayer was forgotten. By the 37th year after Hijrah, when you look at the battle of, or the 38th year after Hijrah, the battle of Jamal between Imam Ali and what went on with the people of Basra, with Aisha. Prayer was forgotten. They came to Abu Hurairah and said to him, how did Rasulullah pray? Rasulullah, how did he pray? Because I see people praying like this, people praying like that, people looking that way, people praying to Al-Quds. How did Rasulullah pray? Prayer is different. He would say that if you want to see the salah of Rasulullah, كَصَلَاةِ الْهَاشِمِيِّينَ, that the prayer of Rasulullah is the same salah of Banu Hashim. Who was Banu Hashim at the time? Ali, Hassan, Hussein. That's it. That the prayer by the 38th year after Hijrah was forgotten. If Salah 38 years after the migration from Mecca to Medina was already gone, by the 61st year, do you know what went on? A man who called himself Khalifatullah, Yazid, drunkard, womanizer, corrupt, pathetic, psychopath, educational level of Islam he doesn't have. Yet he's at the helm of the Muslim Ummah. When you look at these events, my dear respected brothers and sisters, it's very vital to go back to the origins and see where did it all begin. Why did Rasulullah say, I am from Hussein? By the time Imam al-Hussein made his sacrifice and that revolution, the principles of Rasulullah were reborn again. That now we know what we've had at one point but we lost. Now we know the true principles and elements and spirituality of Islam from this man. That had it not been for his sacrifice, Islam would have had a very ugly image today. Because if the Khalifa can be drunk, then that must mean all the Muslimin can be drunk. If the Khalifa can be somebody that gambles, gambling must be halal. If the Khalifa, who is supposed to be the role model of all the Muslim world, can do these atrocities, then that must mean Islam sanctions them. Therefore, Rasulullah was reborn again on the 61st year after Hijrah with the sacrifice of Imam al-Hussein. Hence why he says, and I am from Hussein. وَأَنَا مِنَ الْحُسَيْنِ. Going back to the ayah of the Holy Quran in which we mentioned earlier. In the incident of Adam and Allah and the angels and Shaitan. It sounds like a joke. Shaitan, Allah, angels, and the first human being. What went on was very interesting. Allah says to the angels, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. Allah is informing the Rasulullah right here. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ. Allah is addressing somebody. He's speaking to somebody. Allah is talking to Rasulullah. لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. One time Allah told the angels, He made an announcement. إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. Who was this Khalifa? Adam. Adam, were there people before him? No. One may argue developing humans, Neanderthals, okay. But people like Adam, were they there already? No. He was the first rational, logical human being, insan, that we recognize all people to be today. Correct? There were no people before Adam. Okay. So why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala find it necessary before man and womankind to bring down a Khalifa? I find it interesting that Allah found it necessary to bring a Khalifa on the earth before there were ever humans. So then how could you tell me that after the death of Rasulullah, that Allah would not leave a Khalifa? That when Rasulullah dies, this entire Muslim ummah, by the 10th year after Hijrah, in the event of Eid al-Ghadir, 120,000 Muslims attended that event of Eid al-Ghadir. 120,000 Muslims. When Rasulullah dies, it's perfectly fine, there's no Khalifa. Or, yes, there was a Khalifa, but the Khalifa wasn't chosen by Allah, we voted for him. I forgot, does Khalifa come from down up or up down? Inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. I have brought, listen, fil ard, onto the earth. He brought down a Khalifa. So we can't just go ahead and choose who we want to be as someone who wants to rule us and guide us. No, Khilafah comes from up down, not down up. Even when there are no humans on earth, it's still necessary. There needs to be a hujjah, a representative, a vicegerent, someone that represents you. In the United States today, if the president can no longer serve, fingers crossed, then the vice president takes his position. If the vice president can no longer serve, who becomes president? Who knows? Speaker of House. Ahsant. If the Speaker of House can no longer serve, who becomes president? Who knows that one? I think you're all smart. They call him the Senate pro tempo. The guy who... Oh, then why didn't you speak if you knew it? The Senate pro tempo. If he can no longer serve, then you got other individuals who are qualified, eligible to come and serve and take the position of the president. If the president can no longer serve, if something happens to him or her, then they can no longer hold their office. Okay, let's say they got impeached. Remember, fingers crossed. Let's say if that happened. There's a line of about 18 qualified individuals that can serve and take lead and charge of the position of office in the Oval Office if the president can no longer serve. You're telling me the president of the United States has his line of succession already understood, but Rasulullah never indicated his line of succession? Allah said from the beginning, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. I don't care if there are no human beings on earth. Khalifa is necessary. Who then responded in protest? قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء. The angels responded back to Allah. Look at this audacity from the angels. We always think angels are, mashallah, pure, niceful. They're talking back to their Lord. قالوا أتجعل فيها. You're going to bring down upon the earth من يفسد فيها, who spreads corruption. And listen, they're not just afraid about corruption. ويسفك الدماء, and spill blood. Ya Allah, why would you do that? This person's going to cause corruption. They've never seen Adam already. They don't know what he's capable of. They don't know anything about him. They've never seen mankind spread out of just one guy. But they're already concerned for the well-being of humanity. مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء, and spill the blood. And guess what? They gave Allah an alternative. وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ. Ya Allah, we're a better choice. We praise you in thanks. You know tasbih? وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, and we sanctify you, we glorify you. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala respond? The most phenomenal, significant, fundamental, powerful line. قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allahu Akbar. Listen, the Quran, we recognize it as an intellectual miracle. How do we know that Rasulullah was a legitimate prophet? How do we know if a prophet is a prophet? If you come with a message, on my head, ahlan wa sallam, but prove to me your prophethood. Musa, okay, I'm going to split the sea. Okay, you're prophet, khalas. Today, if someone tries to split the sea, okay, illusions, obviously. Oh, he's using water pumps, isn't there? So that probably wouldn't work today. Maybe some people would be amazed by that. Or the staff turning into a snake. Today, no, that's a robot. You managed to make it ship shape, and that's a snake. You can't trick me with that. Isa alayhi salam came by. I'm a prophet, follow me, here is my message, be kind, be loving, be sweet, be etc., right? On my head, but prove to me your prophethood. What is it that you people appreciate very much? I'll bring it to you twice as powerful, more greater. What is it? At the time of Prophet Jesus, medicine was very powerful. Medicine was very much looked up upon. That if you can cure something, you can heal, you're considered someone very great in that society at the time. And so Isa would heal the blind, would revive the dead, something that they found very attractive. During the time of Rasulullah, Khatimun Nabiyyin, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. What was the popular aspect at that time? Poetry. Poetry. I mean, you don't need to look far, just read Surah Al-Fatiha. It rhymes, it's concise, it gets to the point, and it has a very beautiful melody. You're supposed to recite it with a melody. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawm al-Din. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. It rhymes, it gets to the point, and it's concise. And the Quran at the same time will discuss astronomical findings and mathematical discoveries like no other while rhyming. What an interesting, beautiful book. But it's an intellectual miracle. So only an intellectual will be able to appreciate it. Somebody like me, when I come, or somebody like you, academics, mashallah, intellectuals, when you look at the Quran and you see, yes, it has some good things to offer, but why does it rhyme at the same time? At the time, in the 7th century Arabian Peninsula, that was seen as something very beautiful to do. That if you can recite poetry, it was very much looked up upon. So Rasulullah took what they found very beautiful and doubled it, added greatness to it. You think poetry is good? Check out this. Read this book right here. It's not only poetic, it's at the pinnacle of poetry. And it's not only that, it'll tell you how to walk on earth peacefully, humble, modest-like. You'll have more respect, self-respect. You'll become more pious. Understand? Therefore, with all these miracles, they come and they prove and they put more evidence to the prophethood of an individual. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in order to prove that he was a prophet, he had to bring to them a miracle here. The miracle was the Quran. The Quran, because it's still here today, the stick of Musa is not here. So that prophethood ended. I can't see if you were a prophet unless the Quran tells me. Therefore, I recognize your prophethood. Isa, revive me the dead. I can't see it. Their miracles were temporary. They were miracles, nonetheless, but they were temporary for that moment, for that time, for that zaman and makan, for that era. Yes, Rasulullah, because his miracle is still with us today, that means Islam transcends time. And is not only limited to 7th century Arabian Peninsula. Therefore, all these ayat are ayat revealed for them and for us today. And so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun, responding back to the angels, I know that which you do not know. Why do I say it's a very significant, fundamental, powerful line, these big words right here? Why? Because the response is a direct answer to them and an indirect answer. What do we mean? The angels, what was their complaint to begin with? That, we fear, why is it khilafah? Why khilafah? Why is it going to the insan? Why the human being? Why not us? Why? We are afraid he's going to spill blood, cause corruption. وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ, and we glorify you in thanks. وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, and we sanctify you. You are muqaddas in our eyes. We do that. So their concerns were what? Justice and worship. أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء, you're going to bring down, someone's going to corrupt and spill blood? Justice. So is this person not going to be adil, Ya Allah? We are adil. We were just people. We're just creations. And their other concern was this: Ya Allah, if it wasn't justice, if you think khilafah, if you believe khilafah goes to the insan, not because of justice, but because of prayer, then we نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, and we glorify you in thanks. So whatever it is, Ya Allah, whatever reason it was giving khilafah to the insan and not to the angel, then we can probably do it, Ya Allah. Why to the human? Allah answered them, but in the same time didn't answer them. How? He said, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I know that which you don't know. Did he give them an answer? He did. He technically gave them an answer. I just know what you don't know. What were they looking for? Oh, is it justice? Oh, is it because of worship? We can worship you. Oh, is it justice? Oh, we're just creatures. We don't do any haram. We're afraid he might spill blood. What's the reason? I know that which you do not know. You would think, would that satisfy you? In a sense, yeah. Yes, okay. Allah, you know best. Allahu a'lam. You know best. but at the same time, he answered their question directly. Nobody on earth can do that. Or you give an answer directly and indirectly. What do we mean by this? If I were to ask you, the shabab here should know, what's 3 plus 1? 4? That's the direct answer. What would an indirect answer be? 3 plus 1 would be the number that comes before 5. What? Just tell me the answer. I did, right? But it was indirectly. It's the number that comes before 5. Whatever that number is, that's the answer of 3 plus 1. I didn't necessarily give you the answer directly, but I still answered it indirectly. Whatever that, because am I wrong? No, I'm right. But I want an answer completely. Allah, so you can't combine. These are like naqidan. In ilm al-usul, النقيضان لا يجتمعان. The two opposites do not gather together. They're like magnets. They're like polar opposites. They don't come together. You can't gather them together. Black and white. Allah managed to answer them directly and indirectly. How so? Because if their concern was what? Justice and worship, we said? That wasn't the reason why Allah brought down khilafah to the insan, to Adam, to the human, and not the angels. That wasn't the reason why. It was because of knowledge. Ilm. How do you know? The next ayah. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And we gave Adam and taught Adam all of the names, all of the titles. Before you even get to the following ayah, ayah 31 of Surah Al-Baqarah, before you get that, just go back to ayah 30. إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. I know that which you do not know. So it's not because of worship. It's not because of justice. It's because of knowledge. Ilm. That's your answer. Who talks like that? Where they give you an answer, that's directly an answer, but indirectly, it works the same way. He indirectly answered them, and he directly answered them. Who talks like that? Truly, when we say the Quran is a miracle that transcends time, only intellectuals can appreciate it and understand it. Only then will you see the doors of afaq and reality open upon you. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah jalla jalalu wa taqaddasat asma'u. That Allah, when He talks to His angels, He can confuse them but also satisfy them at the same time. I know it wasn't because worship or justice. What? The insan is a very interesting creature. We can be just and we can be corrupt. We can spill blood or we can spread peace and roses. That's not the reason. It was because the insan seeks and appreciates knowledge and wisdom. Inni a'lam. Look, Allah synchronized knowledge with khilafah right here. I gave khilafah to Adam because he is a human being and humans appreciate knowledge. Why? I know that which you do not know. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And we gave Adam all of the names and we taught him everything he needed to know at that point. Subhanallah ta'ala. That khilafah, number one, comes from up, down, not down, up. Allah picks divinely who He wants to be the representative of not just the Muslim Ummah. Because listen, the Muslim Ummah is only limited to Islam and whoever resides within the borders of the Muslim Ummah, the Muslim nation and empire, correct? The issue of Khilafah is not confined to that. How do we know? Well, how do we know this? On the event of Eid al-Ghadir, which we, inshallah, hopefully all celebrated about how long ago was Eid al-Ghadir? Like a week ago? Inshallah, we all came together. Inshallah, everybody here attests that you all saw each other's faces here, right? Am I wrong? Inshallah, we all came and celebrated. Was there an event? Yeah? Okay, alhamdulillah, there was. Whenever there's an event, brothers and sisters, try to attend them. Come on, they're only once a year. Come and attend and see the other beautiful faces of the other brothers and sisters and get together. It's a good opportunity to make connections. Rasulullah, on the event of Eid al-Ghadir, it's very interesting. He said something very beautiful. Ayyuhan nas, alastu awla bikum min anfusikum. Now, this is regarding the event in which Rasulullah raised the hand of Imam Ali and said, فَمَنْ كُنْتُ مَوْلَى فَهَذَا عَلِيٌّ مَوْلَى. And so whoever I was his authority, this Ali is his authority. Meaning he is the next in charge. Because if you are the authority upon everyone else, who are you to go and vote for someone else to be Khalifa? He's your authority. هُوَ أَوْلَى بِكَ مِن نَفْسِكَ. Who are you to go and make another ruler on top of him? He practically owns you Islamically, right? The interesting, beautiful line is, he said, أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. O people. Did he say Ya ayyuhal muslimin? Or sorry, Ya ayyuhal muslimun? Or did he say Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu? No. O you who believe, O Muslims, O believers, O people. أَلَسْتُ أَوْلَى بِكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُم. Do I not have a greater authority upon you than you do upon yourself? They all said yes. The beautiful line here is, he said, O people. So is the concept of a Muslim ruler limited to only Islam or everybody else, or man and womankind? Everybody else. But it's not like, okay, because you are not Muslim, I am still your ruler, so you still have to respect me. No, that's a political ruler. That's politics. A true Muslim leader is an Imam, a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, infallible, do not create error, does not create sin. There's a difference between sin and error. Sometimes people have faults and mistakes. Another time they may create sin and haram. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt, indeed, and of course the Prophets and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we believe they do not create nor sin or error. In other schools of thought, no, the Prophet can create error, but not necessarily sin. And we say this contradicts the Holy Quran. When the Quran says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, and you are the greatest creation with the greatest moral conduct. You would never do anything wrong. So then how is it that you can come and say here, عَبَسَ وَتَوَلَّى أَنْ جَاءَهُ الْأَعْمَى, he frowned when the blind man came, that was Rasulullah. That's contradicting وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. No, Rasulullah, a blind man came to him. He was blind, so if he frowns at him, he can't see him. Believe me, if I found a blind man, I wouldn't frown at him. Do I have higher akhlaq than Rasulullah? Absolutely not. So there's a contradiction. That we believe Rasulullah will never create error nor sin. Understood? And these are the criteria and requirements and demands to become that Muslim leader, where you are free from error and free from sin, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Hence why Rasulullah comes back and says, I am from Hussein. Because at that moment, Hussein manifested Rasulullah once more. And by the time in which prayer, as we mentioned, was gone, the Khalifa, who was the Khalifa? A man that was drunk and wretched and tyrannical. Islam was losing its backbone. Rasulullah was born once more. Hence why he says, and I am from Hussein. But revisiting the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you seem to find that in this society, the 21st century society, Rasulullah is under siege, my dear respected brothers and sisters. And for those of my sisters on the other end, I want all of your attention. Rasulullah is under siege, being attacked by Muslim and non-Muslims. Rasulullah today, when you look at some of the reports people are bringing, the image and legacy that people are creating of Rasulullah, it's a very disgusting image. There was a college in Michigan, a Muslim group. We all have groups in our colleges, some of them Muslim Union, Islamic Association, Christian Gatherers, whatever it may be. There was a Muslim group. They did a research poll. When they got the results to this poll, and we will go over what exactly it was, they said to me, you can reference this, but don't say where it came from because it's so embarrassing. What happened? They did a research. Out of 100 names, they collected 100 random names. Amongst them is the name Muhammad, Jack, Bob, whatever, Abdullah. Muhammad was amongst them. We asked 1,000 people randomly, which name incites more fear to you? In other words, which name is the scariest name? The number one name was Muhammad. Unfortunately. That the name of Rasulullah in the 21st century, America, would be considered the scariest name. Rahmatan lil Alameen, mercy to all of mankind, the scariest name. Whose fault is it here? Are we going to keep blaming kuffar? No, wallah, no. Sometimes it's our fault too. George Bernard Shaw, the Irish political playwright and politician, the Irish political activist and playwright, would say Islam is the best religion. He's non-Muslim. Islam is the best religion with the worst followers. Wallahi al-azim. Islam, the greatest religion. Women's rights, animal rights, environmentalists. Islam is beautiful, but it has the worst and ugliest followers. Where one side can dispute with another side. You follow this way of thought, I follow that sect. You follow that madhab, I follow that tariqah. Don't talk to me. Whatever happened to إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً? Whatever happened to وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرِّقُوا? Whatever happened to us? That today Rasulullah's image is the most scariest. Today, we recognize a very tragic event, being September 11. On this horrible day, we stand in solitude with all the victims and all the lives that were lost. But at the same time, do you know who else was a victim to the events of 9/11? 1 billion Muslims across the world. There were Sikhs, by virtue of them wearing turbans, were attacked and killed because people thought those guys look a little too Muslim for me. Islam was under siege. And you would think it would get a little bit better. People would start understanding, yeah, that's not actually Islam. Those are radicals, etc., etc. It just keeps getting worse. That you have in 2008 in Samarra, the shrines of Imam al-Askari and Imam al-Hadi blown up by who? Kuffar? By people that call themselves Muslims and pray 5 times a day. We are so divided, unfortunately. And who takes the blame for it? Generally, when a player faults, you blame the player. Like you look at a soccer player, right? If they make a mistake, let's say Messi, right? Messi, although he never makes mistakes in his game. If he makes them, okay, let's say Ronaldo. Ronaldo makes a mistake, you're not going to blame Real Madrid. Or I hate Real Madrid. It's the guy's fault. It's his fault. Even though he transferred, didn't he? Right? Am I wrong? Where did he go to? Astaghfirullah. Anyways, when somebody makes a mistake, don't hate on the entire game. Hate on the player. It's not like that when it comes to Islam. Leave him alone? Okay, I'm sorry. Don't come after me when I finish the majlis, inshallah. I was just joking about that. But when it comes to Islam, however, on that day, which coincides with today actually, a lot of Muslims were blamed for these atrocities. We have no association with these people that claim to be Muslims, but who was to blame? Them, yeah, but as well as 1 billion other Muslims. People love to generalize. We love to generalize. What does that mean? When you see one person doing something wrong, maybe all of them are like that. Maybe all of them have this bad, ugly attribute. Maybe if people are just going to keep generalizing, have them generalize in a positive way. That you as a Muslim boy or Muslim girl, brother or sister, whatever, if you go and you do something good, have the people that are not Muslim see you and be like, MashaAllah, maybe all Muslims are like this. That yes, let's use the age-old example of helping an old lady cross the street. You help someone cross the street, right? She's going to ask you, what's your name? If you say Muhammad, your name's Muhammad, and you did a good act like that, what? I thought Muslims were violent. People generalize. Or it's a lot more easier on our sisters when they easily go outside and wear their hijab. I can already identify them as Muslimat, right? For the brothers, it's a lot more difficult. As in, you don't have a set of clothing that says, look at me, I am Muslim, like the sisters do. They have the hijab, the flag of Islam they're carrying with them every single day. That's why there's much more responsibility on our sisters. That's why they have a bigger duty upon them. That's why their demands and requirements are greater, because they literally are the flag bearers of Islam. They represent Islam. If I were to look at some of the brothers here, where's Saeed? I want to pick on him. There. If I were to look at him, and if we weren't in this majlis, right? I'm not going to put you on the spot, okay? Another brother. If I saw him, I wouldn't say he's Muslim to begin with. You know, unless he has, I don't know, like Islamic rings or a dishdasha. But a dishdasha doesn't mean Islam, because that's culture. And inshallah, we'll get into that discussion. We have a discussion coming up, I believe the third night. Culture versus religion. Is culture necessarily Islam? Or is there such a thing as Islamic culture? Or is what is deemed appropriate in the Middle East necessarily Islamically appropriate or not? Inshallah, we'll get into that discussion. But the point is, if I were to see a brother, like one of the beautiful brothers over here, mashallah, I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, Muslim, I know him, must be Islam, Shi'i, follower of Ahlul Bayt, Madhab Imam Ja'far Sadiq. I wouldn't be able to see that directly. So what do I have to do is I have to hold my faith with pride. And when I go outside, or when I'm in school with my peers or colleagues or at work, wherever it may be, public in general, I have to do my best to represent my faith in the best manner, in the best conduct, with the best etiquette, with the best morals. Because I'm representing a faith, brothers and sisters, that's under attack. Literally under attack. Figuratively, literally under attack. When ISIS came forth in 2014 and Ayatollah al-Udma, Sayyid Ali Sistani, Hafidhahullah, issued the call for jihad against them, there were many brothers and sisters here in the West that were like, should I go and fight ISIS? Aflaha man salla ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. ala Muhammad, Ali Muhammad. Should I go and fight them? Should I go and travel to Iraq? Because the grand scholar said now it's time to raise the weapons against these people and fight them? No, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that's not what we have to do. That was not upon us. That was for the people living in Iraq at the time, because they're literally under threat, literally in danger. Their lives are at stake right here. But you can fight ISIS in a different way. Fight them with the pen and the tongue. Fight them. Because when Rasulullah is the scariest name, as a poll research has shown recently, then that must mean we are doing something not good. We have shortcomings here. So we have to fight this backwards ideology using our moral conduct, using our etiquette, using our akhlaq, using our behavior, using our demeanor, using our characteristics. We don't need to go and be in people's faces. This is what Islam means, etc. You don't have to sit on a member to spread Islam and have a congregation of 300,000. No, just be a good human being. Al-Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam would say, "Kunu du'atan lana bighayri alsinatikum." Be a source of guidance to us, Ahlul Bayt, without using your tongue. How do I bring people to Islam without using my tongue? Habibi, just use your akhlaq. Look good. Be good. Smell good. I tell you today, some brothers and sisters, when you come to them, especially after they finish coming out from the locker room, you would wish they wouldn't exist. The smell. It's like they don't know what cologne is, what perfume is, what body wash, what aftershave. Just put something, smell good. Read the hadith about the Holy Prophet, how he would have this natural, beautiful scent, how he would go excessive with fragrance and smelling good. Some people today, would you believe it, have an issue with cologne and perfume. Why? They say it attracts negative attention to me. How? What did you leave that's good for this religion now? This is gone. Having fun is gone. Playing games is gone. Now cologne, what's left? No, you have to gravitate people to you using everything you can in the most proper way. Cologne is one way. Inshallah, from now on, we're going to start buying Gucci. And what else are we going to buy? Your Savage. What else do you guys like to wear? Versace, mashallah. You know all these expensive. Those are too expensive. But inshallah, the point is, gravitate. Kunu du'atan lana bighayri alsinatikum. That when you sit on the train by somebody or on the school bus and the person smells you, mashallah, you smell really good. What's your name, by the way? Ali. Ali? The next time they see another Ali, they're going to think, that last Ali I sat with smelled really good. Maybe this Ali smells good too. That they are spreading Islam, tabligh. They're preaching without speaking. Who likes Mohammed Salah? Liverpool. Raise your hand. Oh my God, you guys, okay. There's only some of you that like. We're going to have a few problems by the end of this majlis. I can definitely tell. I've brought up some names, Ronaldo and then Mohammed Salah, and I know I'm in big trouble right now. But Mohammed Salah, what's very interesting with him is that there were some people on Twitter, at least on Twitter, that were saying he brought me to Islam. How? Because when he makes a goal, he does sujood. What does he do? Sujood. He goes on the floor and prostrates. More than a million people watch that happening, and they say, what the heck is he doing? What? Every time he makes a goal, he does this. He gets on the floor. So they begin to research. One thing leads to another, they learn about Islam. One thing leads to another, they learn about Islam, Ahlul Bayt, they convert to Islam. He brings people to Islam without even speaking. Kunu du'atan lana bighayri alsinatikum. That a man could just do sujood and bring you to Islam. Why? Because you have that platform. You have that space. You have that outlet where you can speak, but not necessarily using your tongue, and reach millions of people. That is why today, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we have to defend Rasulullah. We have to defend him using our akhlaq, using our etiquette, wa alaikum assalam, using our behavior. And just not that, if that's the least bare minimum, if you can defend Rasulullah by going online and making, let's say, articles, writing columns, becoming active in, let's say, YouTube, making videos, something that's interesting, nice, sweet, gravitating, we have no problem with our general way of proposing Islam by speaking on the minbar, on the pulpit, having majalis such as this, alhamdulillah. But every single year, tabligh advances. There's an evolution with preaching. 50 years ago, if you want to preach, it was only on this. Now, YouTube, go online, spread Islam, make a video. 1 million people could see it if it gets popular, if it's good enough. Remember, you have to look good. You have to smell good. You don't have to necessarily smell good if you want to go on YouTube, but you have to make sure everything is perfect about you. Be perfect human beings. Give 100% in everything you do. Don't give 90%. That when you study halfway, and then are you going to get an A? No, study all the way. As a Muslim, that's your responsibility in the West. If you're learning something, learn it completely 100%. You should give 100% everything you do except one thing. What is that? Donating blood. Give 100% in everything you do, brothers and sisters. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And you find Aba Abdullah alayhi salam on this night. He has already reached that area of Karbala. But before getting there, when he was wanted in Medina, Yazid ibn Muawiyah from Sham was already ordering people to give him allegiance and bay'ah. And so everybody had to give allegiance, pay allegiance to Yazid. The man's in Sham, in modern day Syria. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is in Medina. The governor of Medina at that time, Walid bin Utbah, who happens to be the cousin of Uthman bin Affan. Walid bin Utbah, interestingly enough, during the Khilafah of Uthman, the third Khalifa, who by the way wasn't picked by Allah, he was picked by a Shura of 6. The Shura of 6 was then ordered by the second Khalifa. The second Khalifa was picked by the first Khalifa, none of which were picked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except Amir al-Mu'mineen within the Holy Quran. But nonetheless, Walid bin Utbah, during the reign of the third Khalifa, was in charge of Salat Jama'ah in Masjid al-Kufa. Inshallah, may Allah grant us the ziyarah of Masjid al-Kufa. When we go there, we visit the great warriors and champions of Karbala, Hani bin Urwa. You go to Muslim bin Aqil. Inshallah, may Allah grant us that opportunity. Some people, when we go to Iraq, Najaf, Karbala, Kadhimiya, Samara, go home. Kufa, visit the sites of Muslim Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, the man that revenged and avenged Abu Abdullah. Is not worth your time? Visit. And how far is it from Najaf? How far? It's basically in Najaf, but it's like what, a 15-minute drive. Make the effort. It's okay. Get a little bit tired. Had it not been for them, I don't know the image of Islam, what it would be like today. With Ahlul Bayt, 14 Ma'sumin, all of their efforts, look at how Islam reached us today. Alhamdulillah, it's still intact. Alhamdulillah. Rasulullah would say, يَأْتِ زَمَانٌ عَلَى أُمَّتِي الْقَابِضِ عَلَى دِينَ كَالْقَابِضِ عَلَى جَمْرَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ. That there will be a time in which the ummah, my Muslims, holding on to their faith will be like holding on to a hot piece of coal. How hard is it to hold on to a hot piece of coal? Nearly impossible. There will come a time. You would think now is the time, right? With all the Islamophobia, with all the hate, with all the extremism going on in the name of Islam. You just look at November 13, 2015. 130 people died in France due to Islamic terrorism. Psychopaths. That when they kill, they scream Allahu Akbar. And who's to blame? Psychopaths? Yes. But who else gets blamed? Islam, unfortunately. Or you have a company, an amateur magazine company, Charlie Hebdo in France. They draw a picture of Rasulullah, right? A funny looking picture, a rude picture. Over tens of people die by radical extremist Muslims. They claim to be Muslim and they yell Allahu Akbar. Who's to blame? And then you have politicians from the Netherlands, let's say, Geert Wilders, who runs his campaign on Islamophobia, who has completely his whole entire mission dedicated, his whole life goal to attacking Islam. His campaign is based off Islam. You have a president here that will say, I think Islam hates us, on an interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper. So what do we do in this situation? We come and we say, wait a minute, don't let them represent to you my faith. Let Al Muhammad represent to you my faith. When you have an organization like Who is Hussein from Chicago, just recently, my dear respected brothers, just recently, they were put onto the news. How many of you saw it? Where they were giving school supplies to a needy school that didn't really have backpacks and the material to give. They donated school supplies, and on every single backpack, a little symbol, who is Hussein? And they aired that and they put that on the news channel, and the reporter actually asked the question on television. So who is Hussein? A revolutionary that inspired millions of people today. Still, 7th century revolutionary that has inspired millions of people today. That's who Hussein is. That's who you want Islam to be represented by. That's who you want Islam to be epitomized by. Aba Abdullah alayhi salam. Not individuals that were never picked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not individuals that don't even know the elementary basics of Islam, that come and kill on in the name of Islam, in the name of Rasulullah. Aba Abdullah represents Islam. Al-Imam al-Hussein represents Islam. The Hussainis, just like you inshallah ta'ala, represent Islam. And we solidify our faith by coming and attending the events of Muharram in a center such as this, and outside of Muharram, where we don't forget everything. Sometimes in Muharram, we become very good, pious people. As soon as Muharram finishes, we go back to our mistakes. Ramadan, every single day, extra salah. After Dhuhr, extra salah. 5 ayat of the Quran are recited every hour, right? After Ramadan is over, bye-bye. Bye-bye salahs, bye-bye Quran. We have to maintain our faith. Maintain that level of spirituality. Maintain that iman, inshallah ta'ala. And that, only by doing that, can we defend Rasulullah in a 21st century society, my dear respected brothers and sisters, because I truly fear, and inshallah ta'ala I won't take too much of your time, Samahat al-Shaykh Hafidhahullah is here, and we will conclude inshallah very soon. I seriously fear that on the day of judgment, Allah will look at me, and I speak about me before anybody else, because I know my shortcomings. Allah will look at me and say, MohammedHassan, you saw people hating Rasulullah, calling him violent, calling him these horrible names. What did you do about it? You saw Habibullah, Khatim al-Nabiyyin, Ar-Rasul al-A'zam, the greatest creation, being called these names in your backyard, in the West. You spoke English. You have a YouTube account. I don't know. You have online profile. You can go on and say something. Why didn't you do anything? When he was being attacked, don't you call yourself Muslim? Have you no shame? When people get affected emotionally, they want to go enraged, they go all out. And so when they see somebody do something, they're not going to go blame him only or her. They'll blame their entire faith and background and foundation. That when people kill in the name of Islam, did you not come out and say, I condemn that? They have nothing to do with Islam? Where were you? I fear on the day of judgment that when Allah comes to me and says, there was a poll done in your university where out of 100 names, 1,000 people were asked, Muhammad was the scariest one? How could you? Why didn't you do anything? Was this not Habibullah? Was this not Rasulullah? Was this not your Prophet Khatamun Nabiyyin? Why didn't you do anything? I say to my Lord, Ya Allah, we are doing our best as Hussainis here today, that we gather and revive Aba Abdullah's message. In so doing, reviving Rasulullah's message. Going back to what he said originally, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn alayhi salam. And you find Aba Abdullah, before he embarks on his journey, Walid bin Utbah asks Imam al-Hussein, he said, give allegiance right now. He calls him to the court in Medina. We want your allegiance. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Yazid, wants your allegiance. You gonna give him allegiance right now? He says, a man like me will never give allegiance to a man like him. That me, I will never be ever caught dead giving allegiance to a man like him, ever. And so he became wanted. There was a bounty on his head. So he had to leave Medina. But leaving Medina is not easy, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Medina is the land of Rasulullah. So the land of their grandfather, Ahlul Bayt, loved Medina. That is why it was so difficult on Imam al-Rida alayhi salam when he was taken by Al-Ma'mun al-Abbasi to go to Tos, modern day Mashhad, because he didn't like to leave Medina. That was the land of this holy prophet, but as well as his holy grandfather. It's not that easy. And so he had to leave. But when he left, do you know where he went? He went straight to the grave of Rasulullah. When he went to the grave of his grandfather, narrations tell us he approached that grave and he said the following lines, Assalamu alayka ya Jadda, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah, Assalamu alayka ya Habib Allah, Sallallahu alayk. They say that Imam Abdullah fell asleep at that exact moment, and when he fell asleep, he saw his grandfather approach him, and he said to him, Wa alayka assalam, ya qurrata ayni, wa ya waladi, ya Hussein. Rasulullah approached Imam al-Hussein, grabbed him, put his head head to his chest, and he would say, my beloved Hussein, why is it today that you have come to approach me like this? Abu Abdullah would say, oh Jaddah, oh my grandfather, today is the day I leave your city and I embark on the journey to reach Karbala. You see, Imam al-Hussein knows that the final destination is not Kufa, but it's Karbala. And so this is al-wada', this is the farewell. I will not return from this, oh Jaddah, oh my father, oh my grandfather, allow me to enter your sanctuary and be with you. Rasulullah would say, oh my son, this is not your day. Your day will come by the Euphrates River. Your day will come when your tents will be burnt. Your day will come when your brother's arms, Abbas, will be severed. Your day will come when Ali al-Asghar will be shot in your hands. Abu Abdullah, be patient, for there is a special place for you in heaven, a place only the shaheed can attain. Oh my beloved grandson, that time will come. But when it comes, be patient, be strong and robust, be forbearant, my beloved grandson, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Allahumma inna nas'aluka wa nad'uk bismika al-azim al-a'zam الأعز الأجل الأكرم. Ya Allah, 5 times. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein in this dunya. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the shafa'ah of Imam al-Hussein in the akhirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure all of our sick ones, to grant us our hajat, to cure all of the beloved mu'mineen and mu'minat that are not here today, and to make sure that we continue this ritual of defending Rasulullah and Imam al-Hussein by attending these majalis, inshallah ta'ala. Our nights will continue now, inshallah, at this time, tomorrow until the 10th of Ashura. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.